111. The Paintsil of 111 has indicated how the estate of a deceased person ought to be distributed.
Right.
First and foremost, the law deals with a situation where the one who died left behind one house. If the person left behind one house, the law is that the surviving spouse and child are entitled to that house as tenants in common. I repeat myself. Surviving spouse could end up with spouses. Surviving child could be children. So therefore, that's just a term for, because this is Ghana. I mean, a man could have 3 wives, 4 wives, 5 wives, but a woman can never have 2 husbands in Ghana. So the surviving spouse means that if the man died and had more than 1 wife, then all the wives, together with all the children, are entitled to that one house equally. That's what we mean by tenants in common.
So if it is one house that the person who died left behind,
the interstate,
yes, the surviving spouse and children will not share it with anybody.
No. They're entitled to equally. So
your opinion cannot
nobody.
It's a house with so many rooms, so I'm entitled to.
Nobody has got a share in there. The family hasn't got a share. Nobody has got a share. It's only the surviving spouse or spouses as appropriate, and child or children as appropriate, who are entitled, and they hold it equally. So if at the end of the day, the surviving spouse and children, they add up to 10, then the law is that everybody has 1/10 of it. So nobody has got an interest which is bigger than that. That's the first point. The second point is if the one who died left more than one house, then the law is that the surviving spouse and child or children as appropriate are entitled to choose one of the houses.
Right.
And it is interesting that the law goes ahead to say that if for any reason they are unable to agree to choose one out of 2 or several houses, then upon application being made to the court will decide which house they must choose. So that is the second point. There is something the law called household chattels. The household chattels, in a nutshell, includes everything that is used together with the house. Just everything. Call it everything, except commercial vehicle. Except a commercial vehicle.
Okay.
So if the man had private cars, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm saying man. I'm talking about the deceased.
So man is also used to represent woman.
That is so. If all the household chattels go together with any one of those houses that they will choose.
The law says the household chattel include jewelry, clothes, furniture, furnishings, refrigerator, television, radiogram, other electrical and electronic appliances, kitchen and laundry equipment, simple agricultural equipment, hunting equipment, books, motor vehicles, other than vehicles used wholly for commercial purposes, and household livestock.
You're right. So that's about it. That's why I took out commercial vehicles. Anything other than a commercial vehicle is described by the law as household chattels.
All right.
The household chattels are also for the surviving spouse and children equally. They take it together with the house.
So from where I come from, if it's my brother something who is dead, I am supposed to inherit the person. I can't go and say, okay, I've seen some cars here. I pick the one I like. I can't say, I know he has 2, 3 houses. I decide which one I like because by custom, I am entitled. I can't do that.
Now, when you do that, look at section 16A, look into the face of the prison.
Okay.
Because that's what essentially you're looking at.
All right.
You know, I keep on telling people that what the law does is not to stop people from doing what they want to do, but it shows them the consequences of their conduct or their action, because the law is that a man expects the reasonable consequences of his conduct. Okay. You must expect everything that you do. That's why we say even your freedom ends where someone's nose begins.
Right.
So for those who will not listen, for those who believe that they've got a right to do what they want to do, what they need to be told is that they have section 16A of P&H law 111 that criminalize that intent that they have. And if it manifests, the chances are that they will see a judge who will show them where, as we say in Ghana, power lies.
Right.
So that's the way it goes.
You're still here on the law. This is your legal light. It is your health law. And on this show, as always, what we do is to bring knowledgeable, experienced lawyers to help you understand the law and empower you. The things that you ordinarily walk into a law firm and pay money before you get them free here on this show, including today. And like last week, you learned certain things that you don't have to do with a will if you found it, else you go to jail for 10 years. And today, you're also learning free that if you're not careful, you go to jail for 1 year for trying to intermeddle or, as it were, eject and deprive surviving spouse and children of what they are duly entitled. So they are entitled to a house and the household chattel. And the household chattel include motor vehicles other than those used wholly for commercial activity.
That is so.
What else are they entitled? And you said it could be the surviving spouse, surviving child or children, surviving parents, and surviving customary successor. That's a priority according to the law. So why is it only the children and the wife who are getting, or the surviving spouse who are getting everything?
No, that's not about it. I mean, that is to say, after that, that is to say, after the one house and the chattels, everything else that the deceased owned, we call it the residue of the estate. The residue of an estate is everything that the deceased acquired in his lifetime, besides the one house and the household chattels. The law has provided a formula for the distribution of the residue of the estate. And when the law was made, well, the situation was too bad, but somebody had to create a formula. The formula is not perfect by way of experience, but I will just tell you what the law says. Of the entire estate, that is to say the residue of the estate, the law says that the surviving spouse is entitled to 3/16. In other words, the law provides a formula, as if maybe it is easier for us to quantify it in money terms.
Right.
Because when we talk about residues, it could be all kinds of things. But for the purposes of the discussion that we're having, let's say we've given a value to the totality of everything that we call the residue. And the value of it is, let's say, 1,600 cedis.
Okay.
The law says that of that value, the surviving spouse is entitled to 3/16. In other words, if it's 1,600, then the surviving spouse is entitled to 300 cedis. Then the surviving children or the surviving child is also entitled to 9/16. That is 900 cedis. Of the remaining 400 cedis, the law says that if the deceased left behind surviving parents, then they are entitled to 2/16. That's 1/8 of the residue of the estate. Then the other 1/8, listen carefully, the law says it must be distributed in accordance with custom. A lot of people end up saying that it belongs to the family. The law does not mention family. The law says that it ought to be distributed in accordance with custom.
That means the surviving spouse and children could still benefit?
Naturally. Because the custom depends on whether it's patrilineal or matrilineal.
Okay.
The surviving spouse could go in there under the children. Because, for instance, among Gans, I know for a fact that they inherit patrilineally. And according to the Gan system of inheritance, the children own their father's estate. And therefore, if you die, let's say the deceased is a Gan, then that for that 2/16, that's the 1/8 of his estate, the children could go in there and slug it out with the family. So it is not for the family, as we keep on saying. But if he did not have surviving parents, then the whole of the 4/16, that is to say 1/4 of the estate, then ought to be distributed in accordance with custom. So if, for instance, the person died from a matrimonial system of inheritance, naturally, the man's children are not part of his family. So as I sit here, my children are not part of my family. What it means is that then the whole of that portion will go and be distributed in accordance with customary law. I mean, the ancestor of inheritance. So that is how, in the first instance, any residue that was left behind by the deceased ought to be distributed. That is it. That's the first.